What is up, you guys? Welcome back to the channel. Coming at you with yet again another perfume experience. And for today, I have none other than Oud Sultani, the 0.3 gram offering that I had received with Ensar Oud 1, the Sultani edition. If I can get the camera to focus for you guys. There we go, I think. Now, as you can see, it is thick, it is resinous, and it is dark ambery bordering on brown. And this, you guys, is something very special. And I'll go over it with you shortly. I will have to start off by professing that I couldn't really find a standalone musing or descriptive of this on the Ensar Oud website. And I'm a bit cautious of having to refer to some of the other archived Oud Sultani iterations because I'm not sure if it's the same thing or not. And I also don't want to use the musing off of the EO1 Sultani just because there are other notes mixed in there. So what I will do is I will just walk you guys through my experience of it, what it smells like, and hopefully that will give you a sense of what you would be getting neat or standalone. Again, I'm not sure if this is being offered independently or not, but I have it, so might as well give you guys some insight into it. But before we get started, make sure to grab your favorite snack, your favorite bevy or cafe, and sit back, relax, and enjoy the awesomeness coming your way. And in my case, I've got some cafe. Oh, yes, sir. You can never go wrong with coffee, you guys. Never. Okay. So, like I said a moment ago, the Oud Sultani, this 0.3 gram, I received with my order of EU1, the Sultani edition. And I will tell you off of the get-go, while I do smell oud in the EU1 Sultani, once I laid my nose on this, I started to feel that the EU1 Sultani has very little oud in it. If the idea that this is what's in EU1 Sultani, it is just not enough in there, okay? And yeah, so that's just something that stood out to me. And I don't really know what to make of it because I do like EU1 Sultani a lot. It's fantastic. But yeah, when you smell this neat on its own, it makes you wonder why you even create EU1 Sultani. But anyways, here we go, you guys. We will get started with... Alright, so off of the get-go, you get a slight barnyardy blue cheese animalic note. It's not overpowering by any stretch of the imagination, but it does have this facet of Indian oud to it, aged Indian oud. Very antiseptic, I'll say about medium to strong in terms of the antiseptic note slash facet in here. Slightly incensey, you guys. There is a fruit note in here, a purplish dark plum. So very sort of thick plum molasses, if you wish, sort of a note. An overripe sweetened plum, but not necessarily to the point where it's nasty, just where you get a lot of that nice, thick, sweet resin coming out of the plum. Slight, very slight floral hint. It's very hard to pick on, but it is there. And overall, it just smells to me like a refreshing, cleaner version of an aged fermented Indian oud. It's a much more refined way of doing it if you wish. It eliminates quite a bit of that fermentation facet to it, and you're left more with that really nice antiseptic mentholy heady note of the oud with the plum resinous, slightly incensey, not very strong incense note in here. There is a slightly sticky sweet molasses hint slash note in here, but again, not very overpowering or very easy to detect. It's something you sort of have to look for it depending on how many ouds you've got in your nose on. Yeah, so I think in terms of the notes, that's it for this one. I'm not gonna swipe it on just because I've already swiped from it a couple of times, and I would like to preserve this for as long as I can because I do dress it up with E1 and it's fantastic. I did mention that it is slightly incensey. There is a slight smoky element to this too, so just something to mention. And yeah, overall, as a standalone oud Sultani is fantastic. One of my favorite samples, very generous samples, to say the least, that I've received from Ensar oud. It is just honestly gorgeous. I put a few swipes off it on and I could sit there and smell it for hours and hours on end. And this one in particular, and we will get into the performance stuff shortly, but it does very well on its own, you guys. I'm actually very curious on how this would smell paired with the Ensar Oud Jasmine, which I did get a 3 grams vial off, you guys. So I tried it a few times. My God, one of the best jasmines I've ever smelled, hands down. Like straight neat jasmine, chef's kiss. Okay, so yeah, let me grab some more coffee. So with this one, let's start talking about info, which is what everyone is here for. Stats, data, profile, okay? So let's speak performance, you guys. So projection wise, I'm gonna go ahead and say it is medium to strong, and I throw the medium in there just because God knows what your skin chemistry is like, okay? It might soak this up and you might need multiple dabs for you to actually smell it. To my surprise, this one on my skin actually does pretty well projection wise, so strong. I've been able to whiff it off of my skin. People have picked on it off of my skin from far away. So projection wise, this is a winner for me in terms of strength with my skin chemistry. Trail and Silage, I will also go ahead and say that Trail and Silage with this one are strong, okay? People will still smell you long after you're gone, and if you pass by people and you know you're not far off from people still, you were gonna have a waft trail right behind you. So projection, Trail, and Silage on this one is strong, okay, for all intended purposes. Now, in terms of when would you put this on seasons wise, I'm gonna go ahead and say that this is versatile enough to wear across all 4 seasons, so spring, summer, fall, winter. And the reason I say that is, even though this is a neat oud, it is not over smoky or incensey or resinous, and it's not overly light, airy, mentholy, heady. It's somewhere in the middle, so it will play very well across all seasons. So in that sense, it's pretty versatile. Now, with respect to time of day, that you would be able to wear this. I'll go ahead and say that my preference for this would be later in the day, so maybe in the late afternoon to the evening. Just because of the profile of it, I just find that this might be a bit overkill first thing early in the morning. I'll do it every now and then, but honestly, I'd rather wear it later. Just because otherwise I think it's gonna be overkill and overwhelming to my senses. Okay? Now, what kind of context would you wear this in? And this one, you guys, while it does have a lot of Zen meditative qualities to it, this is probably another neat oud that I've talked about as of late that will do very well in a formal setting. So you can actually wear this to the office, and even though I didn't mention that it does have a slightly blue cheese, barnyardy, animalic facet in the opening, it's actually not bad at all or offensive. You can safely wear this to the office, especially when you give it a few minutes to air out, because it goes straightly into this sort of incensey, smoky, mentholy, slightly leathery, resinous note. It smells very opulent, very luxurious, very classy, very serious, firm, respectable. So you most certainly can wear this in an office. You can wear it to a formal dining event or party. You can wear it to a charity event. So anything really that does require you to suit up in a formal setting, this will do very well with. And like I said, don't worry about the animalics in here. They wear out fairly quickly. It's like I said, think of an Indian oud, but it's so well done and refined that fermentation left over is barely non-existent, and you're just left with the sort of clean, oody, heady note. So this will do very well in formal settings where you need to dress up in a formal context. And with respect to gender, spectrum, continuum, whatever you want to call it, guys, this is masculine. Ladies, you can put it on, but it's most certainly more masculine leaning. Again, if you want to smell it, buy it for your man as a gift. I'm not sure if these are on sale on the website or not, to be honest. I tried doing a quick search through their search bar, and I didn't really get results except for archived ouds. And like I said, I did not want to reference these because I'm not sure if they're the same thing. Okay? Now, I know for a fact that this oud Sultani is what's in the E1 Sultani, because it was referenced that you would receive it if you bought the E1 Sultani, the leather edition. And yeah, I mean, so gender-wise, definitely masculine, not feminine leaning, okay? And yeah, overall, it is a gorgeous, gorgeous standalone oud. I mean, it's one of those standalone ouds that you can wear as its own perfume. And this is very important to note because ouds, typically speaking, are used as base notes. They're there in the background. They're there to pull the fragrance together. Most ouds don't do very well on their own. This is one of the few, in my limited experience, just please keep that in mind, but one of the few that I've laid my nose on that actually feels like a complete standalone perfume, okay? Even though it's just one note and it's an oud. So I really, really do appreciate that about this oud. And it most likely isn't just the ingredient itself or the wood or the oud, but also the craftsmanship that went into the extraction process for us to end with this lovely, lovely resin. Syrup of the gods right here, okay? So with that said, assuming you can get your hand on it or get it with your order of E1 Sultani, do I recommend oud Sultani from Ensar Oud? 100% yes. Get your nose on it, get your wallet on it, cop it. You will not regret it, okay? It's a fantastic standalone offering that performs as a full-on perfume with all three notes just using oud, okay? With that said, you guys, I will wrap it up here. As per usual, very much appreciate your time and attention, and I will see you in the next one. Cheers.